Hey there. Hey, what's going on? So, what do you think? Yeah, I have the older model. I want to upgrade to this. Yeah, this is all new 2025 Forester. Really nice car. Yeah, I'm thinking about it. You know, it's a family decision, right? I have to call my wife. So, yeah, I have to have a chat with her before that. Actually, I did call your wife, and she said that you guys can't afford this one.
What do you mean you called her?
Yeah. Yes, did call
You
her.
called her on the phone? And?
Nope, can't afford this.
You know, I'd like to talk to her face to face, a lot better.
Okay, well, see you next time. This is the 2025 Subaru Forester. It's new for this year, new front end, new rear end. It actually looks pretty good. Meanwhile, this side, we've got the 2024 Honda CR-V. This was redesigned a couple of years ago. And today, we're going to compare these two. If you are a Subaru fan, you're going to love this thing because it still maintains that rugged exterior design, which a lot of Subaru fans love about the Forester. In fact, their entire lineup is designed with rugged experience for that off-road spirit. And the Forester continues with the same theme, especially on the outside, but also on the inside. What I'm trying to get with that is that if you're looking for an off-road vehicle that can carry 5 people comfortably and lots of space, I believe this could be the best option. But having said that,
the CR-V isn't a bad vehicle if you want to take it off-road. In fact, it comes with an all-wheel drive system. Honda has yet to offer a CR-V Trail Sport like they do with a Pilot. But if you want it, you could just add some off-road shocks, lift springs, and some Wrangler tires, and you got yourself a Trail Sport CR-V. Well, not like this one.
Now let's talk about exterior design. Of course, the CR-V looks very standard. It's not super exciting. The outside looks like a normal Honda in many ways. In fact, their entire design, their entire lineup doesn't have the most exciting vehicles in terms of looks, I have to admit that. But it does the job. You've got some blacked out exterior parts, beautiful wheels, blacked out as well. Same thing with the mirrors. This white paint is actually pretty nice. I've seen about 4 of these today on the roads. And also the grille blacked out all the way around. Plus we've got those little extended parts at the bottom painted in silver, which kind of changes the entire design. Meanwhile, the Subaru on this side, I don't know what it is about it, but I kind of like it. It's not boxy, it's not curvy, it's a mix between the two of them, but also has its own blacked out stuff, like for example the grille at the front with some silver finish in the center, beautiful headlights, we've got fog lights at the bottom, even the actual bumper at the front, which also matches with the rear diffuser. But the overall design of this thing looks very off-roady, which I think this is the entire theme of this car. Moving on to the back side, well, the Subaru is a bit more exciting, but also a bit weird the way this thing is designed. Like, for example, the diffuser at the bottom. There is a single exhaust tip on the right side, but then this side has been left with just plastic. Just the whole thing looks a bit weird. But the overall design of it matches the front bumper, which I kind of like it. Then you have the Forester letters, and here's so people driving behind you know that this is a Forester, and the Subaru badge, and of course the logo blacked out, new tail light for this year, and you also have hands-free tailgates for the first time in a Subaru vehicle, I believe. Not very exciting, right? Just standard looking vehicle, not too crazy. Most people don't really care about how these things look, but let's point out some things that I've noticed with this one. First, you got the all-wheel drive badge, and then at the bottom we have the chrome finish exhaust tip on the right side, but then the left side, it looks like an exhaust tip, but it's actually not. It's just the plastic inside with that chrome finish around it. Honda went the other way. Meanwhile, Subaru said, you know what, just put a plastic in there and call it a day. Honda said, no, let's just make it a bit more interesting. Now, let's talk about cargo space. Here's what you need to know. The Honda CR-V does offer more cargo space overall. In fact, it offers about 39 cubic feet of space with the non-hybrid, about 36 with the hybrid because there's a battery underneath, so it doesn't offer the most space. Meanwhile, the Subaru here doesn't have a hybrid, so you only get about 30 cubic feet of space, which is actually not a lot, and it's not the best in class. But here's what the Subaru offers in the back that you don't get with most vehicles at this segment. They've also included some Easter eggs in the side. We've got an oil lamp on the right side, and then on the left side, there is a telescope. Really nice touch. I really like when companies do things like that. It just makes them different from everybody else. In most cases, you're going to leave the car seat in one car, so you don't actually have to move it in and out. But in my case, I do have to. But let's just say you have two cars and you have one car seat. Well, that makes it very difficult and annoying. Let's try the Honda CR-V. How easy it is to get this in the second row. As you can see, very, very easy. Why? Well, that's because this thing has a 90-degree door opening option, which is very, very helpful. That way you can just do that. I think that's very helpful. In the Subaru, it is a little bit tight, and I also have to say, it's a little bit lower in comparison to CR-V, like if I'm right here. But it's not that bad. Like, the difference is very small. So you can, I mean, yeah, you're hitting the side of the door a little bit, but not by a lot. These things are SUVs, so they're just slightly higher off the ground in comparison to sedans, so you don't have to struggle a lot. But I do think in certain situations, that 90-degree option might come in handy. Let's jump into the second row. Let's talk about space. But before I do that, I realized something. First, we've got these Subaru stars in here. Really nice touch. Also, at the bottom, those Easter eggs, they continue. And here we have the paws, the prints, essentially, on the ground of the dog paws, which is pretty cute. It's on both sides. And then we jump in. Space-wise, it's actually not that bad. It's comfortable. I've got headroom. A little bit of rubbing onto the roof, but not a lot. Room inside. It feels large, actually. This is one of those scenarios. Small on the outside, big on the inside. That's the way this thing feels. And what I do love about the Subaru is that they do have a sunroof, but it's so large that you get light in the back as well. That's something I really appreciate. And I actually like sunroofs in general. Tech features. We've got USB-C and USB ports in the back, and also we have heated seats. With this package, we don't have full rubber mats, but I believe with other packages, you do get them in case we go off-road. Nice leather with some suede around it. Really nice and comfortable. You can fold the seats 60/40. Overall, larger windows. Comfortable. I can see myself being a passenger in the back.
Now, jumping onto the Honda CR-V. First of all, it feels slightly roomy, especially if you look at my headroom. It gives you a bit more space, and overall the interior is larger. Leg room is pretty good. So for someone my height, I do feel very comfortable, just slightly larger in comparison to the Subaru Forester. You do get heated seats on the side, you get 2 USB ports, and that's about it.
Let's talk about this. First of all, this is very similar. The Crosstrek has very similar design to this one. But one thing you do notice with Subaru is the fact that the interior is very rugged, very much an off-road vehicle on the inside. And they didn't forget about the Easter egg in the front. In fact, on the side of the door here, we have the human footprints, which is pretty cool. I like that. I don't know why, but I kind of like that. I think they went a bit extra. They did more work to it to make the customer just enjoy the car differently, to hide a little things here and there. I appreciate that. The Honda interior is very basic. It's got a smaller screen. You don't get cooling seats with that package. There's no 360 camera. Meanwhile, in the Subaru, you actually get a 360 camera plus different modes, and it's kind of split in 3 different screens, so you get the best view, which I kind of like that. You also get a bigger screen in the Subaru. I believe this is about 11.6, 11, under 12 inch essentially. Massive screen, but less buttons. So if you are obsessed with buttons, the Honda might be your best. But this one does add a few buttons in terms of the climate unit, for the temperature, and so on. Both offer wireless charging pads. Both have a proper shift knob, which I appreciate. But the Subaru has some extra modes for off-road. It's a Subaru, it's made for that. In terms of the seats, they both offer power seats in the front with the adjustment for the bolster and so on. Cluster. The Subaru offers mostly analog, so you've got your speedometer, the RPM, and so on into analog, and you have a screen in the center showing you some information. Meanwhile, the Honda, it's a 50-50, so you got some analog and some of it is digital, a full screen in that case. Steering wheel, both have heated steering wheel in this case, and both don't offer, well, a power steering column on this side. It's both manually adjustable, but you do get memory seats on both vehicles. 2 options in this case for the CR-V and for the Forester. Both offer Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. The audio system in the Honda is powered by Bose, meanwhile in the Subaru by Harman Kardon. Now, which one is the best? I have tried both of them. I've tried in the Honda. Honda is very standard. If you've driven a Nissan, very similar to that. The Harman Kardon tends to have a bit more bass, especially because it has a subwoofer in the back, which it's kind of nice. If you like a bit of bass, it'll be good. My camera guy drove it as well, and he said he liked the Harman Kardon, which we got a thumbs up. Let's talk about how these drives and what do they offer under the hood. Well, the Subaru uses a 2.5 liter boxer engine, 4-cylinder. It makes about 180 horsepower and 178 pound-feet of torque. It is the famous symmetrical all-wheel drive system by Subaru, and it uses a CVT, which for some people might not be the best choice, but it's actually pretty decent. It's not the best out of all the ones that I've driven, but it does the job. For 2025, Subaru says that they have introduced the same power steering in the WRX in the Subaru Forester, which means it reacts better, it's faster. It's a bit of a delay, I must admit, but overall, it's pretty good. Subarus are known to have a very unique driving experience. What about pricing? Well, in Canada, the Subaru Forester starts at about $33,000, which is actually less than the Honda CR-V. It can go up to about $45,000 for the Premier package, which is essentially fully loaded. Now, what about fuel efficiency? Well, today I drove the Subaru Forester and the CR-V. We drove around, got the rollers, the B-rolls. So essentially about 70% of that was highway driving, 30% was city drive. And right now, the Subaru is showing me about 9.8 liters per 100 kilometers. When I first picked it up, it's at about 630 kilometers on a full tank. Now, is that the best out of the two? Well, the Honda CR-V was able to achieve about 6.5 liters with the hybrid system. So it is, of course, better than the Subaru Forester. But that also means that you're going to pay more money for the Honda CR-V hybrid. In fact, it's over $4,000 or so for the top trim, because for the lowest trim, you don't get an option with the CR-V. The Honda CR-V offers 2 engine options. The first engine is the 1.5 liter turbocharged 4-cylinder. That one, well, it doesn't make the most horsepower, just at about 190 brake horsepower and 179 pound-feet of torque. And that one is paired to a CVT. And then there's the second engine option, which is the one that we have for today's video, which is a 2-liter 4-cylinder Atkinson engine, which makes 204 brake horsepower and 247 pound-feet of torque, also with a CVT, but it's got 2 electric motors, and you got amazing range. In fact, with a full tank, this showed about 720. The Honda CR-V feels a bit heavy on the roads. That's one thing I noticed. It does feel a bit more quiet on the inside in terms of the cabin noise. Visibility, the rear window, it is definitely better on the Subaru. Even the surrounding area feels better in the Subaru, especially because it has a larger sunroof, so you get more light inside and it actually feels larger. The power delivery is slightly better in the CR-V, since it is a hybrid, so it's also working with the electric motors, and you don't even notice when it's working on electric or petrol. The transition is very, very smooth. You don't hear much of the road noise. Which one do I like the most out of the two? Here's my take. If you're looking for space and better fuel efficiency, the CR-V is the better option. You give you more trunk space, more space in the second row, a bit more roomy on the inside. Not a huge difference, but it's noticeable, especially in the second row. But if you're looking for tech features with that off-road experience, a vehicle that you can essentially just throw anything inside, and it's got a nicer screen than this, well, the Subaru is the better choice, and also is a lot cheaper, especially the hybrid. The CR-V is very expensive. They never made a base model hybrid, which is unfortunate. I kind of like the Subaru. I like how it looks on the outside. This is very simple, very normal looking vehicle. Not too aggressive. I kind of like the design of the Subaru, especially the Forester. I've never been a huge fan of Subaru vehicles. WRX has been pretty good, but generally speaking, not their biggest fan. Until this one. This one, it's got something that I really like.